Hello and welcome back to Let's Play. This is episode 17 of Let's Play Master of Orion 2. Alright, we are on turn, this is the year, Stardate 3518.9. Our campaign of galactic conquest began in the year 3500. We are the humans based out of the red flag Sol. Alright, so it's been 189 turns, 18.9 turns. It's 0.1 things per turn. So the thing to take away is this is 189 turns. In a typical game, I would have had one war in the first 100 turns. I've had I don't know how many wars I've already waged, and we haven't even gotten to turn 200. It's really violent out there. It's really bloody. My fleet has their backs against the walls. It's time to hit the turn button a few times and see if I can develop some ships. The Silicoids are gone. No colonies or fleets remain. Wow, look at this guy. Labor leader, financial leader, farming leader, assassin, and spy. He looks like he's worth the money, to be honest. And I have enough solar systems that it's actually worth my while. I'm really in a state of shock. I did not expect the Silicoids to fall. The universe is now down to... I see the Altarians still exist. I gave them a planet. I returned to them Altair 2. And I guess they're making the best of it. They have their 3 battleships. Those 3 battleships helped me a great deal once my vanguard on Slaw. The Mershon have their 2.5 colonies. I have my 3.5. Cylon has 4.5. Ouch. Wow, the Altarians have a colony on Molon. I didn't realize that. So 2 for Altair, 4.5 for the Trillarians, 4.5 for the Cylons, 3.5 for the humans, 2.5 for the cats. Alright. I didn't realize that there were 2 civilizations that had each a whole star system more than me already. And nominally I would think, hey, the Altarians, they look really vulnerable. I gave them Altair. I can take it back. I don't know. The Altarians have been my allies for a while, so I might keep the peace, but I have to decide if I think I can move in on the cat people. It would be great to get an advantage in the sheer number of colonies that I have. Alright. I feel like if I'm not scrambling and I'm falling behind. Let them build, Nick. Let them build. Alright, we don't need a pollution processor in a world where there's no construction. 84. Yeesh. Alright. I have plus 10 food. I can definitely move some population into construction. 51 turns is pretty embarrassing. I can't believe I still don't have a battleship. On the other hand, I have to remind myself it's turn 190. In a normal game, you don't really get those investigative fleets until turn 100. Alright, assimilated the last Sakra. Great news. Slaw 2 has terraformed. Now it's building up Space Academy. Slaw 2 terraformed. Oh yeah, these guys needed it because I was saying, hey. This guy's terraformed? I'm confused. I thought they lived on a Terran planet. Space Academy's fun. These guys one day may build some of my best battleships. Let's go ahead and load up their queue. Alright, so I'm surprised. I didn't realize Slaw 2 even needed terraforming. Soil enrichment. That'll liberate many farmers. That's good. We need a starbase though. It's very clear I'm very invested in science. You can see my research labs and my planetary supercomputers occupy many of my key production slots. And the universe is such a dangerous place right now. 50 turns. Jeez. My enemies apparently respect water displacement. If you were to gauge the reason an enemy in Master of Orion 2 thinks you're vulnerable, it's based on the volume of displacement of your fleet. So like when you roll out a battleship and suddenly, I mean, I don't think they literally tied the metric to the volume of your fleet, but an accident of consciousness among the artificial intelligence is that they look to the size and number of your fleet and they basically correlate it to the volume that they displace. And maybe, I'm not sure, if they realize that you might have a weapons advantage that they can't cope with. They might not be aware of that, but they certainly respect big ships. It comes before me in the spirit of friendship. I hope you're not asking for anything weird. The secret of microbiotics, I'll give it to you. Yeah. Alright, everybody wants to give me anti-missile rockets. Heavy armor. Is heavy armor even worth anything? Okay. What to do? Are they... Oh, good job, Black Razor. Are they very primitive? It could be that I have overestimated the Cylons. That they only have technology such as that to offer me. Well, disassemblers. Okay, these destroy all pollution. I could use something, or they don't destroy all pollution, but a lot of it. But they also have microlight construction. Oh man, that's way more valuable than whatever they were offering me. These guys are little jerks. They have Xeon missiles. They don't even know the best thing about Xeon missiles. Cylons always have all the toys, but they're real jerks. They don't share them. Alright, I have trade treaties with everyone that matters. Wait, they're all dead. Holy crap. I have treaties with everyone except the dead. Alright, so it's time for me to reinforce my treaties with a research treaty. Everybody wants to give me anti-missile rockets. He wants planetary radiation shield. I'll give it. That's an investment in defense, and that means that's not something that's going to antagonize me anytime soon. Alright, the research is a step backwards. It's an expensive research treaty, but I am human. My best bet to win this game is via population and election. Alright, Space Academy, soil enrichment. Let's make sure people are not encroaching on me. Colony ships. formidable battle fleet. Transports. I'm glad I gave Altair, because oh, what happened to the Altarian fleet? Uh-oh. They have no wars. They're allied with my allies. Every time I press the turn button, I mean, I overestimate my capacity to defend myself. I keep saying I'm very vulnerable, but let me say how vulnerable I am. I don't have a battleship. My enemies all have several. They could starve my planets without attacking them. Many of my planets cannot produce their own food. But I am producing extra food, so let's take some of these guys off. You are now scientists. Still have extra food. Good job, guys. Applause. Applause. They're bull wrathy. They probably have paws. That's funny. Applause, pause. I shall buy you terraforming. I spend too much money too freely. War is coming. I shouldn't act as if I am free to just develop in peace. I'm very worried about inevitable incursion forces. Alright, so everybody else has a missile base and a star base. You don't have a star base. Biospheres, please. Wow, they don't have biospheres? Move that up. Alright, this human world has a gap. Let's take a chance on Sol 2. Looks like they finished terraforming and I was being inattentive. And let's ship yet another slaw from Slaw to Sol 2. 5 turns. Alright, and then let's go to Sol 2. We have the excess transports. Oh shit, that's huge. Alright, Sol 2, come here. Let's ship him back to Slaw. I was deeply worried about space. Slaw has lots of space. And he'll fit in well with all those serpents. The Mershon still have their fleet. They got rid of their missile base though for some reason. Or maybe they just couldn't rebuild the Berlathi one. Alright, peace reigns, but I should consider still that war is constantly around the corner. Let's build some spies too. Let's see what I can get technology-wise. No, I don't want the fusion bomb. Alright. I have committed a lot to science, or to computers. Alright, so the next phase of the future, what can jump gates really do for me? They can get me between my colonies much faster. Planetary Stock Exchange can help me get some more money. My shields are pretty crappy, so let's go for personal shields. Yet another combat invasion force bonus. Eventually I will send my fleets of invading forces out, so having every little bonus helps. People probe Orion, but they do not go there. Man, I have to consider, what are the Trillarians? They could be very powerful. Let's do an alliance. Hell yeah. These guys want to give me everything. Alright, I want the ion pulse cannon because... No, forget it. Let's get out of here. I'm not going to give them the auto lab. But I might give them the auto lab. Because they'll get an auto lab no matter what I do. Alright. What I really want is a freaking computer. They still won't give me a computer because they know it. Alright, my advantage is very limited. Getting microlight construction is useless because I don't really have that many people that build stuff. But if I could increase my morale, I think it's worth it. Alright. Let's see what I can do now. Alright, so it's not necessarily true that the Trillarians will get an auto lab. It is true that the Cylons will. So I basically give anything to the Cylons because they will inevitably get everything. So it's like as soon as I get it, I can go trade it. So I guess this is a concession. I don't think I'm going to wage a war against the Cylons. There may come a war, but it's going to come at the end of science. Like I was discussing in the previous episode, it's going to have to wait until we get to the point where hyper research is the norm, because that's the only place I'm going to be able to win, is in hyper research against the Cylons. Unless I can take them in an election, but I think that is actually becoming unlikely. The elections look like a runoff from here on out. So until I have a significant tech advantage, which comes in hyper research, this is basically the norm. Alright, that's episode 17, and I'll talk to you later.